Growing luscious garden peas can sometimes be a challenge. They require temperatures in the mid-30s to mid-50s, cold but not too cold. This makes them a perfect in-between crop in early spring or fall. For those trying to grow them in tropical climates, it can be much harder. But if you're blessed with colder seasons, you can grow them successfully, especially if you follow some tips to start them in the right foot. I'm Siloé Oliveira, and I'm striving to grow more of my own food in my suburban homestead. Garden books usually tell us to sow peas directly on the ground early on as soon as the soil can be worked. And by early, they mean when it is still near freezing. But I don't enjoy freezing fingertips handling half-thawed soil. So I start them indoors. By doing so, I can usually plant them 2 to 3 weeks later than what's recommended, when it is a bit more seasonable outside. I'm growing 2 varieties of peas this time, a snow pea that is great for stir fry and sugar snap peas. I use the plate method to germinate them. Like I've shown previously, I pour water into a plate with a paper napkin. You might need to water them more than once since they tend to suck up water. I then scatter the seeds evenly, covering them in plastic. Unlike what I usually do, when the seeds germinate, I will not be planting them into cups or growing them under fluorescent lights. Peas prefer to grow directly where they're supposed to. And since they like cold temperatures and can even withstand light frosts, it makes sense to grow them directly on the ground as soon as I can do that. Here in Maryland, there is a short period in the year when temperatures are favorable to growing peas. Unlike England, that has a longer, cold, wet spring that is perfect for peas, here at times it seems that winter turns into summer overnight. By using the plate method, they sprout in less than a week and grow more reliably. There is nothing worse in gardening than sowing seed and seeing bad germination or no germination at all. Make sure there is adequate water and put them in a warm place to hasten their sprouting. As soon as they germinate, I go out to plant them before the roots grow too much. If you notice that the weather is about to turn and the soil is starting to thaw, that is when you start them. Peas are nitrogen fixers, so they should help you improve the fertility of your soil. I'm planting them in a spot where I planted kale in a previous year. This is a good practice for crop rotation. I work the soil a bit, removing the sprouting weeds from the top layer and plant the sprouted peas about 1 inch into the soil. You can space them out every 3 to 4 inches. There is something special about sowing seeds in early spring. As the poet Robert Frost eloquently puts it in his poem entitled, "Putting in the Seed." You come to fetch me from my work tonight, when supper's on the table, and we'll see if I can leave off burying the white, soft petals fallen from the apple tree. Soft petals, yes, but not so barren quite. Mingled with these, smooth beans and wrinkled pea. And go along with you ere you lose sight of what you came for and become, like me, slave for a springtime passion for the earth. How love burns through the putting in the seed, on through the watching for that early birth, when just as the soil tarnishes with weed, the sturdy seedling with arched body comes, shouldering its way and shedding the earth crumbs. If I were to sow them directly on the ground, it would take anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks for them to start to germinate. That is, if they can get enough moisture to swell and crack their seed coats. This can set plants back enough so when they finally grow, temperatures are in the 80s. I set cages over the growing shoots to prevent the groundhog from snacking in delicious pea tops. By using this method in a couple of weeks, your peas will be growing uniformly. In this way, there is less time for the soil to tarnish with weeds, especially if you cover it with light mulch of straw and broken twigs. If you give your peas good moisture and a bit of a boost with an organic liquid fertilizer, your peas will grow and produce in no time. In a future episode, I'll show you how to easily support your growing peas. Remember to send in questions and comments to seedofchoice@gmail.com. And don't forget to subscribe to Suburban Homestead.